There's a fear we as therapists don't talk about. Sometimes we feel lost in the room. And worse than that, we really feel like we can't talk about it. I mean, after all, we're the people clients are supposed to come to when they need help. And I think it even gets worse than that because sometimes we actually don't know what to do in the room. It's not just a fear. Sometimes we really are lost on what to say and what to do. I don't think this is our fault, though. I think this is because of how we're trained. We're trained mostly in theory, writing papers, reading books, abstract ideas, and we're not always taught what to say and when to say it when you're sitting with a person who's hurting. I'm Jordan, the counselor. I have a PhD, I'm an LMFTS, LPCS, and I don't think it has to be this way. I think that we can really learn the skills of therapy in a really clear way. And when we have these skills, coupled with our innate humanity, I think both of those are quality of really effective therapists. That's what this channel is all devoted to. So, how do we learn these skills? Well, it starts with really learning to see what's happening in the room. And so, instead of me telling you, let me show you. I'm going to show you a clip of a young Carl Rogers. And in this demonstration, Carl Rogers is working with a single mom who's really struggling with how she should talk to her daughter about the single mom's sex life. And then we get into some other stuff. So I'll play a little bit of the tape and I'll give you a few thoughts.
That really does touch you, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know what else? I was just thinking, I feel dumb saying it. All of a sudden, as I'm talking to you, I thought, gee, how nice I can talk to you, and I want you to approve of me, and I respect you. But I miss that my father can talk to me like you are. I mean, I'd like to say, gee, I'd like you for my father. I don't even know why that came to me.
You look to me like a pretty nice daughter.
So this was a really powerful moment. If you watched any of the other videos in the series, this is a moment where everything sort of turns. This woman, her name is Gloria, gets really, really sort of deep and vulnerable. And she connects what she's going through back to her own experience with her dad. And she felt she couldn't be this open with him. And Carl Rogers says, "You look to me like a pretty nice daughter." This is a big moment of self disclosure. And not all therapists are comfortable with this level of disclosure. And I think that that's fine. That's totally okay. Your level of self disclosure, I think, depends on two things. One is, what are my own boundaries? Do I want to be really personal with this person? Or does that feel a little too close to my own personal boundaries? I need to be a little bit more removed. Um, the other one is this helpful for the client? And sometimes I think we're not clear on that. I think in this case, the client, Gloria, this woman, is asking for more support, right? What she's saying is not the sort of thing that we can just gloss over and keep moving forward. We need to really deal with it. We need to attend to it. And so I think Carl Rogers does a really beautiful thing in showing up and being fully present. The thing that you would not want to do is just say something like, you wouldn't want to say something really intellectual, right? You wouldn't want to be like, well, actually, I'm sure your dad sort of also like really tried really hard. That's intellectual and it's sort of invalidating, right? And you wouldn't want to do like a big intervention here either, right? Like by big intervention, I mean like, hey, let's really like do some empty chair on that right now. Let's challenge that thought right there. You want to stay really close to the person's experience, which is what Carl Rogers does here. So those are things that you don't want to do. The question then becomes, what could you do if you don't want to be this person centered with this client? Let's watch the clip again And then I'll give you a few ideas. Actually, I'll give you a few ideas first. The first idea is what the person is really needing is to know that you're there with them. So you could just start off by saying, that makes total sense to me. That makes total sense to me. Even as you say that, something in me really resonates with that, right? Basically, you're offering the person a validation or you're normalizing what they're saying. So let's watch this again.
Let's get it as often as we like, but I really do understand that. It really does touch you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what else? I was just thinking, I feel dumb saying it. All of a sudden, as I'm talking to you, I thought, gee, how nice I can talk to you, and I want you to approve of me, and I respect you. But I miss that my father couldn't talk to me like you are. I mean, I'd like to say, gee, I'd like you for my father.
Yeah, you can say something, just validate, right? Yeah, it makes total sense to me. It makes total sense to me that was lacking for you. It makes total sense to me that was lacking for you. That you didn't have a dad that you could talk to, like we're talking right now. That's one way to respond, right? Another way to respond is by really affirming your support of the client, but making it less personal. You know, I hear the crack in your voice, and I am here with you in this moment. I hear the crack in your voice, and I'm here with you in this moment. Right? These are just different ways of conveying to the person, I'm here, I'm present, and I recognize the depth of what you're saying. So that's just one way to deal with self-disclosure, or a few different ways to deal with self-disclosure. Let's see what else Carl Rogers does here.
I don't even know why that came to me.
You look to me like a pretty nice daughter. But you really do miss the fact that you couldn't be open with your own dad.
So this goes into something that researchers have coded in terms of silence. So there's 7 different kinds of silences that clients give therapists in therapy. And this right here, I believe, is a disengaged silence. Carl Rogers says something that's very, very personal to, and the client hears it and takes it in. But my sense is it's almost a bit overwhelming. So she sort of looks down and disengages from Carl Rogers because it's a bit too personal for her to take in. So researchers would call this a disengaged silence. Let's watch that again.
Why that came to me.
You look to me like a pretty nice daughter. But you really do miss the fact that you couldn't be open with your own dad.
And then what Rogers does is he goes back to what she said about how she couldn't be open with her own dad. And he gives a sort of reflection that is not as personal as one he just gave, right? You really do miss the fact that you couldn't have this kind of conversation with your own dad. I think it's a perfectly legitimate way to respond to this client who's sort of disengaging because of the intensity of what you just said to them. There's something else he could have done here, though. Is he could have just offered her more support. Or he also could have just asked her in a very gentle way about what was happening with her. There's a few different choice points. But if he didn't want to reduce the intensity, if he wanted to keep the intensity, he could have, as she was being quiet, just said something like, I see that this is really hard for you. Right? Just acknowledging the intensity. Yeah, this is kind of overwhelming. What I said was really personal, and it's a lot to sort of take in. So it's just another way that he could have addressed this sort of silence that's in the room between them, where she's disengaging with her own, when she's disengaging with him and the intensity of the moment. So there's a few different things that you're sort of doing here. Look, I make these breakdowns regularly because I want us all to be better clinicians. And so if you enjoy these sort of breakdowns, feel free to follow me at jordanthecounselor/subscribe. I send these sort of breakdowns out regularly. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time.